welcome to our special coverage of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. I'm Amarachi Ubani.
Well, coming up today, civilians trapped in the Ukrainian city of Mariupol by intense shelling from Russian troops.
Indeed, the Ukrainian port city of Mariupol is the new hotspot, and that's because residents are trying to survive a relentless barrage of Russian shelling that has smashed districts and cut off power and water supplies.
NATO increases airborne and control warning system planes activity amid Russian invasion of Ukraine. Plus, Nigerians fleeing the conflict in Ukraine yet to be airlifted.
Welcome again to our special coverage. I'm Amarachi Ubadi.
I'm Millicent Walker. Now, it's been a little more than a week, day 8 to be precise, since Russian forces launched an assault on Ukraine after diplomatic interventions failed to convince President Vladimir Putin otherwise.
Well, the Ukrainian port city of Mariupol, as you said earlier, is a new hotspot. Residents are trying to survive a relentless barrage of Russian shelling that has smashed districts and cut off power and water supplies. Residents there say there's been no light, no heat, no water for 2 whole days. There's also a shortage of food. There's more in this report.
Russian forces have taken control of Kherson in the south, the first major city to fall. If they capture more southern cities, Ukrainian forces could be cut off from the sea. In Mariupol, a strategic port near the Russian border, residents are trapped by intense shelling. Kiev remains in government control, and a large Russian armored convoy remains some distance away. President Volodymyr Zelensky in his latest video this morning said Ukraine's defense lines were holding against a Russian attack, but there had been no respite in Moscow's shelling of Ukraine since midnight. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov told Russian state television today that he had no doubt that a solution to the Ukrainian crisis will be found. But Russia's dialogue with the West needs to be based on mutual respect. He says that the Third World War will be nuclear, but he also says this is not something Russians are thinking about. He also explains that Moscow's attack on Ukraine is aimed, among other things, at ensuring that its neighbor does not join the United States-led NATO transatlantic military alliance. More than 1 million people have already fled the country, and hundreds of civilians are believed to have been killed.
In just 7 days, 1 million people have fled Ukraine, uprooted by this senseless war. I have worked in refugee emergencies for almost 40 years, and rarely have I seen an exodus as rapid as this one. Hour by hour, minute by minute, more people are fleeing the terrifying reality of violence.
An investigation into possible war crimes and crimes against humanity committed in Ukraine has been launched by the International Criminal Court in The Hague. In the meantime, Ukraine's allies continue to impose sanctions. The United Kingdom says it will cripple Russia's economy.
The second thing we need to do is degrade the Russian economy to stop the ability to fund Putin's war machine. And of course, the banking measures are key to that, the measures of SWIFT, the measures we took against the central bank. But it's also important that we need to reduce dependence on hydrocarbons, which ultimately have given Putin the ability to fund this terrible destruction.
And French authorities have seized a yacht belonging to Igor Sechin, chief executive of the Russian state energy company Rosneft, as part of the European Union sanctions over the Ukraine invasion.
Let's get more now from the VOA's Anna Chernikova. She's in Ivano-Frankivsk region in western Ukraine. Anna, thank you for joining us at this time. Talk to us about the attacks going on in Mariupol right now and what you've learned so far.
Hello. Thank you for having me. Well, Mariupol is quite it's quite dangerous situation, humanitarian situation right now. There, it is under control, under Ukrainian control, but it is surrounded. So people do not have heat, people do not have electricity, water. People have food and water only for 2 days left, even less now. So it's really, really tough. I think that Mariupol and Kharkiv, there are two worst cases and worst situations that we have so far.
And what about the talks between Ukrainian and Russian delegations? I mean, this is at the Ukrainian border with Belarus. Talks were supposed to have started about 2 hours ago, right?
Yes, the talks have started. We don't have any information yet, but there are three main points which our Ukrainian delegation would like to negotiate. So first of all is ceasefire. Second of all is truce. So we would like to stop this war immediately. And second of all, the third and very important one is there are humanitarian corridors for such cities as Mariupol and a lot of little cities in Kharkiv region which are suffering red attacks the whole day today. So yeah, these are three main points, and we are waiting for any information, for any results. I think that in a couple of hours we will have some updates.
I know that you're also talking to people on ground over, the crisis and the situation. What are you learning from how they're feeling, really, the movement, the crisis, and everything that's happening?
Well, people in Ukraine we cannot realize that this is actually happening, that this is the reality that we are living now, because a week ago we were just having normal life, going to our work, school, universities. We still do not believe that this is happening in the 21st century in our country, which was always peaceful and always very friendly to everyone. People are definitely scared. We have a lot of people flee the country, and a lot of people moved inside the country. A lot of people don't want to move. They want and they will stay in the country until the very end, until the victory, because we believe here, we are very positive that our armed forces and our civil society will actually, will end with the victory here.
And those Russian military tanks are still heading for the capital, Kyiv, albeit slowly. We understand the plan is, there is a strategy to this, which is that the tanks are purposely slowing down so that Ukrainian soldiers and the civil defense can be properly gathered together in one place to make it much easier for the Russians to attack. But the demands that Russia has are changing, aren't they, Anna? Now Russia's demanding that Ukraine must demilitarize and denazify the Crimean Peninsula. It wants it recognized by Kyiv. It also wants the two breakaway regions in eastern Ukraine to be formally recognized by Ukraine as well. This is different from what Russia's been saying, which is, for NATO to stop the expansion, in Eastern Europe.
It's pretty much the same that they wanted from the very beginning, but yes, they are not talking that much about NATO expansion anymore. Anyway, what they want, their demands, it's just insane. I mean, it has no sense. They're talking about Nazis here. Well, look at what they are doing here. I think that it's not, Russians are not those who should talk about Nazis or whatever. Demilitarization, I'm sorry, but this is absolutely not their business. It's our country, and every country has the right to decide how to protect itself. I don't think that the demands would lead to any result, because Crimea Peninsula and the Donetsk and Luhansk regions also are not under any negotiation. So, we'll see how it will go. But so far.
And what about Kherson, the city of Kherson, which is currently under siege? What are you hearing about the situation there?
Well, it's very difficult situation right now. So the city is not under control of Russians, but at the same time is not completely under control of the Ukrainian forces. Some part of the city are under Russian control, and there are Russian military forces in the city. Russians are mining the city. A lot of mines now, and civilians are. So the government, Ukrainian government, explains civilians how to act in this situation, because obviously we don't have experience with that. But there are fights, a lot of fights. Kherson is under attack. It was under attack the whole night. Very, very difficult situation. It's very strategic point, obviously, because of the sea side. It's under the fight, but it's very difficult now.
Thank you. Anna Chernikova, VOA correspondent, joining us from Ivano-Frankivsk region, Western Ukraine. Do stay safe.
Thank you.
The Nigerians who have crossed the Ukrainian border into surrounding countries are yet to be airlifted back to Nigeria. Just a while ago, I spoke with the Nigerian ambassador to Poland, one of those countries that has a number of Nigerians preparing for evacuation. Ambassador Christian Ugu is currently at the airport. He confirmed that indeed neither of the two evacuation flights prepared for today lifted off due to logistics and travel documents for Nigerians without passports.
So could you tell us the situation now as regards the evacuation of Nigerians from Poland? We understand the evacuation flight did arrive, but there's been no takeoff from Warsaw.
Yeah, thank you very much. Since 5 a.m., we've been trying to, gather the Nigerians that we accommodated in different hotels. And the aircraft arrived here at 9 o'clock this morning. We were able to bring them around 1:30 to the airport, because there are so many. Checking them in, people without even their passports, without any document, we try to issue them with emergency traveling certificate. This thing delayed till till after 4, and they said that the crew cannot fly because their time has expired. So we will endeavor to be at the airport by 5 a.m. That is the situation, and more people are still waiting. The flight supposed to be. There are supposed to be 2 aircraft, but even one have not taken off because of the difficulty of moving these people, Nigerians, from Ukraine. That is the situation. I'm still in the airport. Since 6 o'clock, we've been here doing one thing or the other. And there was a difficulty in getting landing clearance. These are the things that delayed.
I just want to go back to the travel documents you talked about and why it had to be done this morning. Did you not have any information that the Nigerians who were with you, who had come from Ukraine, had no travel documents?
Good. All those people within our, rented accommodation, we have done everything, prepared their documents. But people were coming from different towns, different places, some of them without documents. These are the things that delayed the checking in. That is actually what delayed them within our, our accommodation, because they've been staying in different places according to their friends.
Okay, so that explains why these Nigerians the delay, and then why the Nigerians are going back to the hotels. So realistically, now when are they expected to take off from Poland?
In fact, by 5 a.m., all of them will come here. They are to take off by 7 a.m. tomorrow.
Do you know how many evacuation flights you are expecting to take off from Poland? apart from the two that you mentioned initially?
Yeah, two for now, because the Polish people have been diverting the, people from Ukraine to Germany. They said they've taken enough of refugees that their maximum for Poland is 400,000. 400,000, and they've gotten that.
How many Nigerians are expected to leave Poland for Nigeria?
You cannot say categorically, give a specific number, because we accommodated 600. But by the time we told them that they would be evacuated to Nigeria, more than half of them disappeared. Even two-thirds disappeared from the hotel, that they don't want to go to Nigeria.
So the plan now, is it to find those people, know their situation, or you will just concentrate on those who want to come back?
No, I'm looking for them because I have their document. Rather, I've taken their particulars. Some say they are going to Germany. Some say they have relatives in Hungary. They have relatives in Romania that they don't want to go to Nigeria. That they are final year students and they are looking for admission to complete their course here in Poland. These are the reasons they gave. And these are adults. You can't force them. The federal government has done the best. The federal government provided accommodation, feeding, and sent aircraft to relieve them, but they don't want to go home. Even the ones that are around, we are pursuing them, pursuing them like kids. This is a part of the delay. I, as an ambassador, have been, I've been out since 4 a.m. So there are different hotels. These are the problems we are faced with.
Well, we have one of the Nigerians expecting to be on one of those flights from Poland, Eniola Badijo. Hi, Eniola. We can see you. Is that your brother or someone else who's also meant to come back?
Is my friend. Is also, he was supposed to come with us too.
All right. I mean, you were supposed to be on that flight, you guys. It's been delayed. Were you given any reason for that?
Yes, we were. We were told that there was a miscommunication in the time. So the flight was supposed to leave by 10 o'clock, and we didn't leave here early. So as a result, we missed the flight, and they said the flight attendants were tired, so they couldn't fly anymore. So we have to go tomorrow. So you're absolutely certain that it is tomorrow. Another thing we're also hearing is that some Nigerians don't want to come back, and then they seem to have left the hotel, and you have Nigerian Mission and others chasing after them. Can you confirm this?
So I don't know about chasing, but he's right. As he said, some people have relatives here in Poland. Some have relatives in, I said, Hungary, Romania. So maybe some people don't want to come back to Nigeria. I don't know why. But yes, it's true about them. That is true.
So in terms of the travel documents also, we understand some Nigerians do not have their passports and travel documents. I mean, do you have your passport?
Yes, I do. I do have my passport.
I do.
Okay. Well, Eniola, we know you. Tell us your name.
David. Koshredo David.
All right. Thank you, David. So, David, your experience essentially with all that is going on.
So my experience about it, it's not been easy. I won't lie to you. I gave an interview like 2 days back about how it was. It was actually very stressful, and coming to Poland, it's been very stressful because we're unable to sleep and unable to get for us, we were able to get some apartments. It's just that we knew someone in Krakow that helped us out, and that's how we're able to do it. But it's been very, very stressful. Limited food, limited sleep. We are unable to shower so much, but yeah, that's the situation right now, ma.
All right, Eniola, David, tell us, in terms of your education continuing, do you know anything? Will it continue online? I'm sure this is definitely something, you need answers to. Have you heard from the university? What will happen, especially when you get back to Nigeria?
Okay, universities have reached out to us and they've been so good and kind to us. They sent us original documents, scanned ones. So we were told school will resume in 2 weeks. They gave us 2 weeks break to, rest and get comfortable in our houses. So school asked us, told us, especially those in 6th year, that our exams will still hold, but they don't know when it should hold, but it will definitely hold, and would also be giving our diplomas.
All right, it's an interesting situation that's happening. Thank you, Eniola. David, perhaps we might even talk to you before you're airlifted tomorrow. Stay safe in the meantime.
Thank
you.
Very unusual situation, trying to determine what happens in a war, whether you continue your education or not. When we come back after the break, we'll look at the impact of Russia's attacks on Ukraine on the health of those caught in the middle of the war. Stay with us. Welcome back. Ukrainians streamed into Central Europe for a 7th consecutive day on Thursday to escape, or rather today is day 8, as to escape the Russian assault that has displaced more than 1 million people. Volunteers and officials across the region are seeking to resettle the growing tide of refugees. In a Polish town at the border with Ukraine, refugees are staying in a mall turned into a transit camp where volunteers are providing food and clothes. And outside the camp, the refugees wait for transportation while others disembark from buses carrying them from the border to the camp. Most refugees have crossed into the European Union, membership of which Ukraine aspires to, in eastern Poland, Slovakia and Hungary and northern Romania. Authorities have pitched tents to provide medical and to process asylum papers. Poland, whose Ukrainian community of around 1 million is the region's largest. It's welcomed a large number of the arrivals, with officials estimating that around 575,000 people have so far entered the country from Ukraine. Nearly 100,000 crossed in on Wednesday alone.
And while sanctions on Russia are being stepped up over its invasion of Ukraine, the funder and promoter of the country's COVID-19 vaccine, Sputnik V, has found itself the subject of punitive international sanctions. And this alongside Russia's central bank. And from the Johns Hopkins Coronavirus Resource Center, over 10 billion vaccines have been administered across the world. Infections are at plus 440 million COVID-19 cases, almost 6 million deaths. We're also seeing today's figures. Countries continue to record more infections. Ukraine, Russia are also caught in the pandemic. Well, joining us now, Tarek Jazirevich, spokesperson for the World Health Organization, joins us from Geneva. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you.
How concerned is the WHO about the unfolding humanitarian emergency in Ukraine?
Well, obviously, we are very much concerned about the state of health system in Ukraine today. The health system is under immense pressure. First, the system was already overstretched with 2 years of COVID-19 pandemic. Many health services have been postponed because of this pandemic. And now health workers are facing people coming with injuries, traumas, on top of patients with other diseases. And health workers have to take care of themselves and their families. So the work they're doing right now is truly heroic. We see images of patients being treated in shelters, women giving birth in bunkers, and health workers are still there trying to assist everyone. Our job now is really to try to help them do their job in the best possible way. The access is crucial. That we had prepositioned some medical supplies within Ukraine, but some of our warehouses are not accessible. We are bringing more supplies. Just today, we brought 39 metric tons to Poland. But how can we actually bring those supplies so much needed, for example, for surgeries, to health workers? We need really a humanitarian corridor to be able to do that.
So attacks on, healthcare are in violation of international humanitarian law. But what can you tell us as to if there have been major hits, healthcare centers around Ukraine?
We have seen and received reports on attacks on healthcare facilities and healthcare workers. One of them we were able to verify when 6 health workers were among casualties. In every conflict, the WHO calls for protection of health. Health should never be a target. Health facilities, health services, and health workers. This is part of a humanitarian effort to provide healthcare to those who need it in time of the conflict. Our purpose right now is to sustain and preserve health system, to keep it running, so health workers can provide healthcare to those who need it.
We're jumping from one crisis to another, aren't we? First of all, the COVID-19, and now it's the war in Ukraine. So prior to the conflict, though, Ukraine had experienced a surge in the number of COVID-19 cases. Low rate of testing means that there is likely to be a significant undetected transmission. Is the WHO worried of increase of large numbers of people developing severe disease?
We are very much concerned, and as we have been publicly stating in the past couple of days, Ukraine hospitals are running out of medicines, and some of these medicines are needed to treat COVID-19 patients. For example, 3 major oxygen-producing plants in Ukraine have stopped, and as you know, oxygen is a critical tool we have at our disposal to treat severely ill from COVID-19. Ukraine was in a 4th wave of COVID-19 since January. Like in other places, dominant variant was Omicron, so less people were in our hospitals. But now, with a suspension of COVID-19 vaccination in many places, with the lack of oxygen, with people not being able to keep the distance and do all these protection measures, we are really afraid that we can see more cases, more severe cases because of lack of vaccination. In Ukraine, we had only about 40% people who have been fully vaccinated before this military offensive. So we are very much afraid, and we need to do everything possible to try to bring in critical medical supplies such as oxygen, so those who are developing severe COVID-19 can be treated. This also goes for people fleeing Ukraine. We hope that hosting countries will provide vaccines for polio, for measles, for rubella, but also COVID-19 vaccination to refugees arriving to neighboring countries.
And Tarek, also, in terms of partnership, it seems, well, some countries are already taking sides in this war. And I know that there are, partners who provide aid and support to the WHO. Have you seen any withdrawal in terms of those who have made promises? And this is as you, of course, provide support to Ukraine.
Well, we have released immediately over $5 million from our emergency fund, and we launched yesterday an appeal for next 3 months. We are asking for $45 million just for operations in Ukraine, and $12.5 million for our support to neighboring countries. It's really important that neighboring countries can step up the disease surveillance. because we are talking about vulnerable population coming across border, people who have, because of COVID-19 pandemic, have been postponing their health interventions. Now there are risks of infectious diseases. There is a risk of waterborne diseases as they may be in a crowded spaces, more risk of COVID-19 transmission. So we need really to help neighboring countries offer services to refugees. And we should never really forget mental health component as well. These people are coming after going through a very difficult time. So psychosocial health is very important as well.
I wish WHO and other agencies the best in this. Thank you so much, Tarek Jezarevich, spokesperson for the World Health Organization. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you.
So in the meantime, the Presidential Steering Committee here in Nigeria on COVID-19 has issued a waiver for Nigerians' 48 hours pre-departure COVID requirements, a waiver for the requirements for pre-departure filling of the Nigeria International Air Travel portal, NITP, and payment for repeat tests in Nigeria and generation of QR code has also been cancelled for those returning. But passengers will be required to fill the NITP upon arrival with assistance for port health services. Upon arrival in Nigeria, passengers will be directed to the designated government laboratories for COVID-19 PCR tests, which must be done within 24 hours of arrival at no cost to the passenger. Dr. Mokhtar Mohammed, who is the technical head, Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19, joins us now. Thank you for joining us on the program, Dr. Mohammed.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. And what are you hearing as to the flights and the time that they're expected to arrive? We do have some information here, though, about the flight from Poland, which has been cancelled for today, and passengers being redirected to baggage claim to get their luggage.
Yeah, we just had that information also. We're working with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and also getting in touch with the people over there in Hungary and also in Poland. So as you just mentioned, we have equally gotten this information just now that the flight could not take off, and perhaps they will notify us of the appropriate time when these flights will start coming. But having said that, let me assure Nigerians that we have put in place some adequate measures to make sure that returning passengers to Nigerian airports will not have any difficulty. As you mentioned, we have waived the 48-hour mandatory pre-boarding PCR. We realize that in conflict situation, the passengers certainly will not be able to do this, and even if they do it, it will come at a cost and it will be adding to their burden. While we are doing that, we are also trying to take care of the people who are here to ensure that when they arrive safe and they don't constitute any additional risk. That is why as soon as they arrive, we will take their samples for COVID-19 testing while we allow them to go. The results turnaround time will be 24 hours, and then we'll notify them of their results and also follow accordingly with the necessary protocol.
Well, quite generous of you to waive the PCR test for returning passengers. But what happens when they arrive? Will they be in quarantine in the meantime?
No. Once the passengers arrive on Nigeria, all we are doing at the airport is to take that sample, which is just the swab that will be taken from their nose or their throat. We have NCDC who have positioned their staff. All of the materials that are required, for testing have already been pre-positioned. All the airport staff, immigration, customs, and others have been sensitized. In Abuja, we are taking them to a designated terminal where they are not going to mix with other passengers that are coming from other countries. And that is where we are going to have the samples taken. Once the samples are taken, we'll let them go. They will go home to their families, but we'll certainly notify them of the results within 24 hours, which means those that are positive will quickly be reached with the instruction on what to do. The NCDC and the two states involved, Lagos and the FCT, have also been mobilized, and they'll be ready to start contacting people who turn out to be positive, and also their families.
Dr. Mohammed, isn't that still a risk, allowing them to go after taking their test, seeing as they would enter transportation to their various destinations and mix with other Nigerians? Don't you think perhaps the federal government should have deployed the RDTs, the rapid diagnostic test?
So even if you do the RDTs, you still have to that chance or the risk that it may not pick those that are positive, that are early, and therefore they will escape. So what we're doing is we're minimizing the risk. We're not trying to eliminate the risk completely. We have followed on the epidemiology of COVID-19 in Ukraine. Yes, they've been having a spike since December last year. The number of cases have increased. Their vaccination has been low. But the measures we are taking here, to make sure that as soon as they arrive, we get them tested. So the exposure they are going to have is minimal. And we've provided them with information leaflet, which is the safety mechanisms they need to take. We are providing them with face masks. We are giving them information on what they need to do to maintain social distancing with other members of the family, and to wait until the results is available. This result will be given to them within 24 hours, of the samples taken. So the risk is minimal, yes, but again, the knowledge we have of COVID now and the management of COVID, considering Omicron, which really does not lead to much hospitalization as the Delta variant, most of the patients are asymptomatic, and therefore that's why we have the rapid response teams ready and mobilized. And as soon as the result is out, we'll get in touch with both the passengers and also their families.
So in other words, you're saying Nigeria is good from COVID?
Well, I think in all of this is a measure of risk you are willing to take versus, the negative impact. Certainly at this time, people who have been subjected to this hardship, people who went through several kilometers to get out, of Ukraine, people who have been tormented, by the psychology or the stress, of conflict, parents who are agitated, waiting for their loved ones or their kids to come back. Certainly, we have to weigh the benefit against the risk. A few instances we had between yesterday and today, which are passengers who are not really on the federal government evacuation, who had to follow the standard protocol. And from that, we have learned that both the passengers and the parents, are not willing, to take the full safety measures, which is understandable. And that is why we try to get this middle ground to make sure that we measure or we weigh the risk versus the benefit. The test we are doing is standard PCR because it is much better, more efficient than doing a rapid diagnostic test.
Dr. Mukhtar Mohammed, thank you for speaking with us. It's been a pleasure, and we look forward to welcoming our students and Nigerians who've gone through a lot of hardship back from Ukraine.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, we'd earlier told you the scheduled Air Peace charter flight evacuating Nigerians from Poland today to Abuja was cancelled as passengers are now being redirected to baggage claim. Here's an update on that story.
I know the characters of Nigerians, and one need to be, hard on them. You have to work hard to gather them together, especially young people. Exuberance. Even here, some of them at the airport were arrested. One of them was arrested for moving about. So these are the problems we encountered. But I'm very sure by tomorrow morning, the flight will take off.
Well, the reality is that the flight has been rescheduled to tomorrow, and the main reason is because of the delay in doing the check-in, because they have to gather them together from different hotels, and by the time we will be ready after the check-in, the crew that have been waiting since 9 a.m. had overshot the hour they should have waited, because they have a duty hour which is allocated to them, and they had waited from 9 to 2 p.m. So that means they already waited 5 hours, and they are going to have 9 hours flight. That is already more than what the standard. So the authority of the airport said they won't allow us to board. So this is the reality, and then we have to come down. But arrangements have been made to ensure that we all stay together in the same hotel, and that we leave very early tomorrow. 4 a.m. we'll be in the bus, and then we can join the flight early.
That's the video representation of what the same ambassador told us at the start of this bulletin. When we come back after the break on the program, a look at technology and its impact on this war between Russia and Ukraine. Our technology correspondent will be on hand with a conversation that's sure to interest you. Stay with us. Welcome back. We're looking at all sides to this war in Ukraine. Our technology correspondent, Victor Matthias, who's been with us all week, also monitoring along with us, has been looking at how technology has either helped or hindered the war in Ukraine. Victor, take it away.
Oh, hello, Amarachi. Thank you so much. I didn't hear you earlier on, but thank you for joining me on this part of the show. Of course, it's been a lot of revelations that have been going on here since this conversation. That's the live chat on Zoom started, which is live streaming right on Facebook. But at the moment, I would take a break from the conversations with those out there, those in neighboring countries, from Ukraine, and take a look at how technology, has played a role in all of this. And joining me to talk about this, I have with me Mercy George Ibafe. She joins us via Zoom as well from Lagos. Mercy, it's a pleasure to have you on the program today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, you're welcome. So let's just kickstart the conversation with how you think technology has played a role in all of this.
First, guys, I want you to stay safe. I want you to just keep your head down. It's a very trying situation, and it can be very discombobulating. First, I want to say, I asked one of Lentil Palomar, I said, how do you think technology has played? And I didn't think about the other bad side of things. It was good because now the president of Ukraine is now a war hero. How he is led through this process, leveraging technology, leveraging social media to communicate his message, talking directly to Russians, talking directly to the president, constantly updating us. So social media has been very critical to bringing awareness. I know maybe Moses can educate me on this, Autumn or Angela can educate. I know that they were cut off from Ukraine as a result of the bombing, and somebody tweeted at Elon Musk, can you divert internet to Ukraine so we can have opportunity to engage with the world? And Elon Musk said, okay, within 24 hours. That was done. That's the power of social media. It's now a flat line. The world is flat in the eyes of everybody. All you need to do is just use your mobile phone and communicate and update to know what is happening. So social media has played a very critical role to doing that. Now, the other side of things, the flip side of social media and automation is the way sanctions have happened in such a swift approach to the Russians, especially you heard today Google, Amazon, Facebook, all the tech giants have suspended a lot of Russian content being circulated on social media. That's the power of automation. All he needs to do is just a click, and that's it. You've been disabled. You cannot communicate. And you see what happened to us in Nigeria with the case of Twitter. So this is the power of digital transformation. It's good and it's bad. So you can see how a bank can just say your account is frozen by just a singular action of just putting a restriction on transaction. And I understand from chatters on the street on Twitter, the street of Twitter, that a lot of Russians did not even know that there was war, to be honest. Only for them to realize they can't do banking transactions, they can't go into the bank because their account has been frozen. So that's the power of technology. It's good because it's brought awareness to what is happening in Ukraine, giving us real-time information. There's a girl that came out of Ukraine, how she journeyed, how she walked for 12 hours for somewhere that would have taken her just 1 hour. So that's the power of technology. So it's either good, it's both good ways and bad ways. So when the government shut Ukrainians from communicating online, Elon Musk made it available. So the world is very flat. We just don't know how flat it is. Anybody can communicate and do whatever they want to do, just using the click of social media. But honestly, this is part of the reality. We're on Zoom. We're talking to people there and sharing expressing their thoughts and expressing their opinion, leveraging technology such as Zoom, we're streaming on Facebook. That's the power of digital transformation in real sense.
All right. Look, yeah, indeed. So I mean, we've also seen that another postings of geographically precise images, of Russia's military forces. And even several news agencies are also regularly monitoring and reporting on the situation. This is technology at its best, isn't it? I mean, how better could we have done this without technology?
I mean, I can picture previous wars that a lot of things were not previewed or nobody could see them. It's just one person reporting. You see that how that would have frustrated the process of UN immediately taking action and saying there's restriction, or the United Nations now saying it's a must that Russia must cease fire, or the president of US reacting. People going out of country from Europe, migrating back to Ukraine to say they need to fight. And that's what Lento would always talk about. It's important that we scale up as Africans and skill ourselves to be relevant with today's time, leveraging digital technology. There are no two ways to doing this. It's so imperative. It's impossible not to communicate or use technology at this time. So if you're not really going with the time, I'm not sure which word to use to qualify. It's important to scale up, understand the use of technology. There's artificial intelligence. There's all the features that makes technology enabling for.
Sorry to bother. I mean, so as it is now, with all of the social media, the technology, there seems to be the proliferation of information from, every angle. So there's a lot of information out there to sift through. How sure are we, this would not be manipulated as it's been passed on? Fake news now, so to speak. How do we watch out for fake news?
Okay, so I often teach people a very quick art, As you know, Google houses 95% of the world's content today. But for you to know which one is authentic, click on the image, verify on the writer, make sure that you take a look at the profile. Who is writing? What is driving them? Are they using this? Because there's proliferation of information, especially scammers. There's a lot of GoFundMe that is out there. Which one is authentic? I remember when I wanted to share the content on Ukraine, I saw some guy post about the president's speech. I went straight on Twitter. I wanted to find out where the source is. It just takes an extra effort, an extra care to go that mile to be able to learn which one is the authentic information that I should use, and I should verify where is the source from. It's not everything online that you're going to take hook, line, and sinker, because there are a lot of people that are just using situation to exploit and to manipulate people. And look at the case with Britain Analytical with Facebook, how they were able to use the algorithm to target certain people and kept feeding them information that applies to them. So it's important, verify your source. Go to the root cause and extra research. Check the person posting the information.
So quickly, before I let you go, I mean, Ukraine is home to a lot of startups. You know, how is this going to have how is this going to have an effect on these startups? And you have globally, you know, acclaimed startups like Grammarly, you know, a couple of the one who make the I can't remember right now the startup that makes, you know, PDF. And so there are a lot of them in Ukraine. How is this going to be of effect to them? Quickly as we wind down.
It is going to greatly impact them. But one thing that I've seen with the president of Ukraine is his will and his leadership style and how he's influencing people. One thing that is clear is that their spirit is going to be unbroken, because a lot of people are saying, I'm not going to leave. You can hear Osarimi saying that, I don't want to come back to a country that is not safe. I don't want to come back. So the truth of the matter is, one thing the president of Ukraine has done is share hope. Nothing that is broken that cannot be repaired. Okay? It's going to impact them right now, currently, but it would not stop them, because remember, everybody doing their business today is in the cloud. So it's just a click in a button, changing your location, and you start to do operation. Even Lento, as small as we are, everything is in the cloud.
All right, I have to say thank you to you, Mercy George Igbafi, for joining us on the show, on the program, you know, and sharing your thoughts with us. Of course, it's live channels, televisions, Zoom chats coming to you from the digital office, of course, of Channels Television and the global headquarters. But thank you again for joining us on the show. From now, you can continue watching. It's streaming live on our Facebook platform. You can join us. You can drop your comments and also be a part of the conversation. But that's all from this part of the studio. Of course, it's back to Amarachi and Millicent in the main studio in Lagos.
Thank you, Victor, with that wrap on technology and its impact in the Russian-Ukraine invasion. Well, NATO's airborne and control warning system planes have increased their activity since the Russian invasion of Ukraine. That's according to weapons controller NATO Airborne Early Warning and Control Force.
And NATO operates the fleet of Boeing E-3A warning system planes to monitor airspaces. The attached radars are equipped with long-range radar and passive sensors capable of detecting air and surface contact over large distances, according to NATO.
And this will allow allies give advance warning of any breach of sovereign airspace.
Under normal circumstances, the aircraft operates for about 8.5 hours at 30,000 feet. It covers a surveillance area of more than 120,000 square miles. It's capable of flying longer operations due to its air-to-air refueling capability.
And this is something the U.S. activated thousands of U.S. troops after Russia had invaded Ukraine. Many of them deployed to countries in Eastern Europe, such as Poland or Romania.
Well, stay with us. We still have more updates. Keep watching Channels Television as we update you for the rest of the day on the situation in Ukraine. Thanks for watching. I'm Amarachi Ubani.
Millicent Walker.